The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate prize. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Q Time is a classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred and Christine Crenshaw. Come on in, relax, and sink your chops into our tantalizing, mouth-watering, distinctive soul food with a twist, the Q Time way. 1120 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, or call your order in at 404-758-2881. Do you miss your mama's cooking? Then come on down to Q Time, an Urban Passport member.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Hello? Girl, somebody hit my car today.
What? You okay?
No, girl, I'm hurt.
You better call my lawyer, Terrence Madden of Madden and Associates. He got me super paid after my accident.
I saw him last Sunday giving away scholarships.
833-PAID-123.
I'm attorney Terrence Madden. I love getting huge checks for injured clients. Dial 833-PAID-123. 833-PAID-123. Offices Atlanta, Jonesboro, and Augusta.
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Are you ready? It's time. The inaugural Urban NerdCon is coming to Montgomery, Alabama, July 29th through the 31st. Blurs, nerds, and geeks from across the universe will converge on the capital city to see celebrity guests such as The Last Dragon, Tybach, Megan Tandy, and voice actor Dave Fennoy.
Hey, how you doing? I'm voice actor Dave Fennoy with a shout out to all my geeks, freaks, and urban nerds. Just want to let you know I'm going to be there and I want to meet you at the Urban NerdCon Gaming and Cosplay event. It's happening July 29th through the 31st in Montgomery, Alabama. Hope you want to meet me as much as I want to meet you.
So join us by visiting theurbannerdcon.net for ticket and vendor information. This will be the premier blurred event in the universe. Theurbannerdcon.net. Our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone's con. See you there.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit.
Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio.
That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results.
Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds.
You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
All right. Welcome to another live edition of the OMG Strike Zone. Just 2/3 of our triumvirate. I'm Brian Fulford, and that's Kofi Hemingway. And soon to be joining us a little bit later will be the third member of our team, Kelvin Rozier. Kofi, what's good, my brother?
Hey, all is well, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, man. A lot on my mind, a lot on my heart, a lot on my chest, and that's just we'll get into some of it, the good, bad, and the ugly. Give us a chance to kind of reflect on things from the past week. But before we get into any and all of that, we got to give a shout out and thank you to everybody who was a part of last week's show. We put up some big numbers. And I, a lot of times, look, I do these shows so much that sometimes I don't even pay attention to that kind of stuff, but incredible numbers in terms of people who have watched the shows on YouTube. I'm sure just as much on Facebook and even downloaded the podcast. And, we're able to kind of measure that a little bit by the thumbs up, the likes and things of that nature. Still need to get the followers up. So on Facebook, our page, on Twitter, our page, on Instagram, at OMG Strike Zone is where you can find us. We can get those numbers up. That'd be great. Go ahead and hit us up there. But overall, just a big thanks to everybody who tuned in. And I hope that everybody, of course, the big news last week and, got a chance to kind of to talk about things. And so at least get the discussion going. And it kind of brings us to where I thought this show could go for probably the large part, but I don't want to. I don't know about you, man. I got so. I'll be honest. By about the weekend, I needed to kind of step away from it all because after a while, when you're not talking about the things that are happening on the field, and you're not talking about the student athletes who are out there representing us. And we're talking about all the other stuff, some of it repetitive, some of the stuff we've been through. It gets a little downright nauseating. And I think that's probably the word that I felt more than anything, because so much consumption on things outside of the actual game and the games. I know we'll get back to that, and this is just that side of sports that is there. And what we do now is we talk about everything. So that for me, I needed to get away. And but I'm still kind of in a muck as I just continue to see things come out. So where are you mentally, emotionally with things over the past week?
Mentally, I'm good. I'm encouraged. I saw the much of our leadership come together. Dr. Robinson was at the 220 Club meeting today, along with Coach Simmons, a couple of our community leaders, and Reverend Holmes, and I want to say Marvin Green, along with his wife, Eddie Jackson, Von Wilson, that whole crew. You know, it's time to really come together, because again, it's not about any one individual. No one individual is bigger than Florida A&M University. So it's important that we refocus and redirect our focus to what it needs to be, which is maintaining the ship, making sure that we are continuing to move forward, and we are staying focused for the matter at hand, which is, of course, first, our student athletes. If we're concerned about FAMU athletics, the athletes come first. And then, that doesn't take my focus off of what I believe the issues are and what we need to do to fix those issues. So, while we don't want to muddy the water too much, at the same time, it's important that we consider the ones that are still on the gridiron, still on the track, gridiron, diamond, track, and field. Our sons, the victory never yields. So we are focusing more on the student athletes and what their needs are and how we can assist them to being the absolute best that they can be.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I look at that's why we titled today's show "How Do We Get Here?" Because processes are very important, I think, and we have to really, if we what they say about what's the definition of insanity, Kofi?
Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Okay. So that's what I feel like, at times when we went back and looked at some of the history, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the show, that's what got to be real bothersome. And so, yes, we want to move forward. And I thought Coach Simmons did an excellent job of bringing that message home. But at the same time, I kind of chuckled a few times, because while we're saying that, we also have to acknowledge the insanity of the processes that we've seen over the past 20 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And so I thought we'd get into that a little bit later, in terms of looking at the history of not just our presidents, but our athletic directors, because that's just a reality. And we'll even juxtapose it with our bitter rival, who has been much more stable over the past 20-something years than us. Now, I don't know if that's apples to apples or apples to oranges, but we'll who knows? People will maybe tell us, or maybe we'll have our own thoughts. But so yeah, that's where I thought. What were you going to add in there, real quick?
Going back to it, man, I mean, you have to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. You have to do the forensics on what just happened, so that we don't continue to make the same mistakes. Rattler Nation wasn't so upset with the fact that we love Courtney, but we were upset at the fact of here we go again. We're right back into the thing. We thought we had gotten this. We hoped, we prayed we got this right this time. And so you mean to tell me with all of the posturing that, I want to say one of our BOT members, our NAA leaders, fought to get this man here, did all of this extra stuff to get him here. And now we're at an impasse again? You mean to tell me we got it wrong again? And we're going to go through this again? So it's not that we were necessarily, we're sick of seeing the same foolishness over and over again. And that's the part, when you talk about how did we get here, let's go there on this evening. That'll be a nice discussion. I'm looking forward to that one.
So we'll get into that coming up in the second segment of the show. We'll even come back with another caller segment. That was real popular. We've not that we never had the call-in segment, but we like hearing ourselves so much that, we wanted to talk so much, and we love y'all, but, I'm sorry, but so we'll come back again with the with the caller segment in hour 2, give you guys an opportunity to express your thoughts. But in keeping with our theme, again, we said we got to talk about our student athletes, and we got to talk about them. Actually, before I do that, I know, one of the things that we've had asked about us is saying, hey, how can I donate to the show? We love what you guys are doing. How can we drop a dime into what you're doing? And I'm always on all of our shows, especially when I do the sports wrap with my partner AD, I'm always reminding people to say, hey, you can always donate myjbn.com/support. Well, we even put up and created something significant or special, unique for the O&G Strike Zone. So if you see right there, if you're on live, obviously, if you're watching us, there's a QR code there. You can make a donation to the O&G Strike Zone. Just hit that QR code. I also sent out a tweet. If you're following us on Twitter at O&G Strike Zone, there's a tweet there in which you can donate. And I posted something on our Facebook page at O&G Strike Zone. So if you're not savvy enough to hit that or scan that QR code and make a donation, you can actually make a donation and hit the link that's on Facebook or Twitter. No set amount. You don't have to do, hey, look, I always tell the story. I always go to the 7-Eleven and spend $3 more than I need to on a snack and a drink. So, hey, if you just donated a cup of coffee, as I like to say, man, it's greatly appreciated. Well, thank you. And as we do and ramp up more things coming up down the road, we'll definitely keep you all involved. So that's that. We'll kind of let people know about that as we go on through the course of the show. But let's get into the roundup. We got to get into the roundup and talk about what's happening out on the fields of play, because if it wasn't for the athletic fields going on, look, I mean, what would we talk about all day? We turn into a blog and talk about, the hirings and firings and the other stuff that's going on. So look, baseball team, let's start there. Baseball team coming out with 2 out of 3 over Alabama A&M over the past weekend. I believe they split. Well, in terms of the games, they won game 1, and then had a one-run loss in game 2, and then again turned the bats on Alabama A&M in game 3. And I think that score in game 3 was something like 18-8 in game 3. So we didn't quite get the sweep that we thought, but we're still kind of sitting in a good place overall in the conference, in those standings. As we're kind of sitting right now in the SWAC standings, we're sitting, I guess you could say, let me see, half game to 4 games. No, 2 games back of Alabama State. They currently have a record of 13-3 in the conference. We have a 12-6 record, tied with Bethune-Cookman for second. 18-23 overall record is what we have, and that by far and away top three teams in the East. By my count, it kind of looks like Alabama State is missing a series, or maybe they've had a delay somewhere, and that's what the difference in games is. Actually, 2 games difference between us and them. We played 18 games. They played 16. Over on the western side, Prairie View A&M is the number 1 team. Actually, if I read the poll right, they're the number 1 team according to blackcollegenines.com. I think they might be the number 1 team now in black college baseball. 14-4 record in conference, 24-18 overall. They've won 3 in a row. You've got Grambling sitting at 13-5 in conference. So, and Southern is 10-8. So essentially, when it gets down to that SWAC tournament, we're right now looking at probably 1, 2, anywhere from a 3 to a 5 seed. Strangely, real familiar to what we had happening in basketball, where we were kind of in that hunt among the top teams, but we were kind of we're a game away from being in a bad spot and a good win or 2 away from being in an advantageous spot. So give or take. Any thoughts on baseball series weekend, Kofi?
I'm just happy that we were able to take 2 out of 3. Of course, we wanted to sweep, but 2 out of 3 is still good. So we'll take that, and we want to continue to build. Again, it just really comes down to the conference tournament. But I do want to see a couple of things happen. I want to see us have a winning record. I think that really is would be a plus for this year's team. And I want to see us perform well and win the conference tournament. I think that's really what it's all about. We want to see some more hardware on the highs of 7 Hills. But it's not going to be easy. I mean, even the teams that are not necessarily playing well right now, traditionally will turn it on in the.
Yeah, I think he may have got sniped there. So I think he was going to say something about the teams that are at the bottom, maybe having a history of turning things on at the right spot. We do have a weekend series coming up with Mississippi Valley State. They are 4-12 in conference play, 10-18-1 overall. We got you back, Kofi. Go ahead and finish your thought.
No, just we want to perform well in the conference tournament. It's time, and we want to take it to the next level. So that's what it's really all about, and that's what we want to. That's really our goal, to represent the SWAC, to win the SWAC in all of our sports. So, yeah, they're in good position to do that. It's just going to be about us playing our very best ball at the right time.
We do have a player who's actually a pitcher. One of our pitchers, I would tend to think, as I went through the stats today, is actually in the running for pitcher of the year. He's got to be up there in the conversation, and it's going to depend on how things go. Obviously, the young man from Grambling who threw the perfect game the other day was outstanding. I mean, just the fact that he threw a perfect game and struck out 13 in 7 innings, he's definitely up there. But our own Hunter Veets is right up there in the hunt. He's 4th overall in ERA with a 3.03 ERA. He's tied for 2nd in wins with 6 wins on the year. He's 7th in strikeouts with 56 and 7th in innings pitched at 59 1/3. And so, those are 4 strong top 10 categories. So if Hunter can put out a couple of good performances, starting, of course, this weekend at Mississippi Valley State in Itabena, that'll help. Then, of course, the following weekend, my birthday weekend, is the series against Alabama State. So that, too, will be another big series in which he will have a shot at really impressing. And then, of course, after that, you've got Jackson State, Bethune. So this is a big series upcoming for us. We need to get a win in Itabena. Now, our softball team, didn't fare so well when they traveled out to Itabena this past weekend. They actually gave up 2 of 3 in their series with Mississippi Valley State. Avoided the sweep, the last game of that series. But the ladies are sitting just 3 games out of first place right now. Bethune-Cookman is in first with a 14-7 conference record. The Rattlers are 11-10 with a 17-27 overall record. Jackson State sits between us and Bethune with a 1-game lead on us. Over in the West, of course, Texas Southern is the #1 softball team in the country right now, 18-13 overall record in conference play. Winners of 7 in a row. They're rolling. Thank goodness we don't have to play the West Side because Texas Southern is rolling right now. But I got to give some mention and shout out to somebody in FAMU athletics, probably Josh Padilla, for tweeting out a lot of the good stats that we've been seeing regarding our softball players. For example, Nia Morgan, she's right now first in doubles in the conference with 16 of them. Tied for 7th in hits and in home runs, 3rd in the conference in RBI, has an OPS that's 10th in the conference. So she's doing a great job behind the plate. And Christiana Beasley, who was pitcher of the week a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, matter of fact, she is 6th in the conference in ERA, 2.72, tied for 2nd in wins with 8. And opponents are batting a 3rd lowest average of .227 against her. So, she's one of the top pitchers. And watch out for Lauren Peppers as well. Lauren Peppers hasn't played in a lot of games or pitched a lot of games, but she sits right there behind Beasley as one of the top pitchers in terms of ERA and opponents' batting average. So, we've got two very hot pitchers right now. And so as a softball team actually has their senior weekend coming up, I was just seeing this article on FAMUathletics.com. The final home series is this weekend. Let's see, 3 seniors. We host Alabama State this weekend. So 3 seniors will be recognized this upcoming weekend. For the ladies, game 1 is on Friday at 1 o'clock. Game 2 is Saturday. And there's a doubleheader Saturday. So first game at 1, second game's at 3. And so shout out to softball. Any comments or thoughts you want to add in on the softball, Coach?
Not at this time. I mean, we've been pretty keeping it in the middle of the road for the most part. The girls are playing okay. This is not our best, but at the same time, it's all about the tournament, man. And if we can get it into the tournament and really perform well, I like our chances really against anybody, including Texas Southern. And I think that, we played that really tough schedule at the beginning to see what we need to do to win those tight games. I mean, it doesn't get any tougher than Florida State University. So we won't be intimidated. We will not be overwhelmed by the moment, but we just need to play well at the right time. So it just comes down to our pitching as well as our fielding and also, being able to generate runs at the right time. And if we do that, we're going to be good.
Well said. Well said. A couple other news notes that I think are worth mentioning. We got to give a shout out. It is grad week at FAMU, as graduation, I believe, is this weekend. So it'll be a host of new alums will be walking across the stage. Any memories of your graduation, Kofi, that you still hold on to?
No, but let me just say this, that nobody takes the graduation pictures like FAMU people. Like the graduation pictures that have, it's like a tradition year, like almost like Fashion Week in New York. When it's time for the grad pictures to come on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that, it's at a total. I have not seen anybody come close to Florida agricultural at Mechanical University when it comes to these graduation pictures. I look forward to it. I believe even our strolls across the stage are like totally different, are just totally at a different level. I like the fact that they have allowed our students to express themselves anyway without being disrespectful. We haven't seen anybody necessarily thrown out of our graduations for doing too much, but credit goes to the people that have to read all of those names. But it's an important time, and it's a great time. It's a celebratory time, and we look forward to it. So yes, sir.
Thankfully, we haven't seen, like, there was a viral video I saw of some kid who they somewhat simulated dunking on the president. Basically, as they were going off stage, one guy came back with a goal, and he like held the goal up, and while the president was like, no, go back. Of course, the other guy behind him had the ball, and of course, dunked on him. So I mean, while it was one of those moments, thankfully we have not done that. We haven't got to that level. But yeah, no, the pictures are outrageous. I mean, I've seen the pictures with the smoke, with the lighting. I mean, I'm talking first class lighting.
Our lighting, bruh. That's
somebody's making
photography, bro. Straight up.
That is I don't know, somebody, that's a great story. I don't know somebody if we're doing a segment of graduation photos. Right. I don't know when it started. Yeah, I'd love to know when that started and who's the photographer that everyone goes to. I mean, anyway, that's just, as someone who's a photographer, I just find that fascinating to say whoever's that person that came up with that. But we have 28 student athletes that are graduating from Florida A&M this upcoming weekend. If I know we've got the photo there, I want to kind of just briefly go through and give them a shout out there of who they are. Let's see, I gotta get my page right. So yeah, that's that beautiful group of 28 spring 22 graduates that you see there. 10 of them are football players, 6 of them baseball, 4 from women's track and field, 2 softball players, 2 from the women's tennis team, 1 basketball, 1 cheerleader, and men's and track had 1 as well. Just to kind of, I feel like I got to run through the names, so bear with me. I'm going through them quickly here. Kellen Fox, Sean Host, Zach Morag, Robinson, Jared Weber, DJ Wilkinson, representing baseball. Keith Little's representing basketball. Posthumously, Kayla McKinney, cheerleading. Football, Jalen Black, Kwame Clark, Chris Fadul, Ronaldo Flowers Jr., Keenan Forbes, Ricky Murray Jr., Demetrius Powell, Blake Simpson, Eddie Tillman III, Jay Jackson Williams, representing football. Alejandro Carp, golf. Softball, Natasha Fox, Aniza Vargas, on representing softball. Women's tennis, Ariel Neely, Claudia Sumaya, I hope I said that right. Brandon Love for men's track. Women's track, Kiara Ivy, Ilaria Johns, Justice Richardson, and Rachel Robertson. And I think I got through all 28 of them. And of course, send a special prayer to the family of Kayla McKinney, whose life was tragically taken before she could walk across the stage. So we lift her and her family up in prayer. And I know it'll be an emotional time for her family and friends. So you guys keep them in our thoughts, in your thoughts and prayers. And we certainly will, and wish all of them the much success. And it'll be fun to see the photos and things like that coming up from them. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back out of the break, we're going to get into some little discussions and try to figure out how we got to where we're at. Maybe even try to spotlight what we're looking at. Obviously, new developments came out in the situation regarding Courtney Gaucher. So we'll talk about that for a moment and more. So stick around. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
Let's go.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on? Sure, it's wireless. Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password? Buick Envision 2021. Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable. That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking. Me too. Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft. Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go, why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
You see, Head & Shoulders has scalp shield technology, protects against flakes, even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. Number 15?
Never not working.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Head & Shoulders scalp shield, never not working.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate prize. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Q Time is our classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred and Christine Crenshaw. Come on in, relax, and sink your chops into our tantalizing, mouth-watering, distinctive soul food with a twist, the Q Time way. 1120 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, or call your order in at 404-758-2881. Do you miss your mama's cooking? Then come on down to Q Time, an Urban Passport member.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Hello?
Girl, somebody hit my car today.
What? You okay?
No, girl, I'm hurt. You better call my lawyer, Terrence Madden of Madden and Associates. He got me super paid after my accident.
I saw him last Sunday giving away scholarships. 833 paid 123.
I'm attorney Terrence Madden. I love getting huge checks for injured clients. Dial 833 paid 123. 833 paid 123. Offices Atlanta, Jonesboro, and Augusta.
Okay, hey, welcome back to the OMG Strike Zone, and we are now a full, complete team. Brian Fulford here, and joining us, our normal third man, or not the third man, but just the third member of the team, Kelvin Rozier, and of course Kofi Hemingway. Kelvin, how you doing, brother?
What's up, brothers? I'm glad I finally was able to get on. Our producer, she was hating on me today, man. I've been sitting in the room about 15 minutes watching the show. Y'all did an excellent job, by the way. But just kidding, Mel. But yeah, man, I'm glad to be here, and I'm here at the right time because there's some good conversation finna happen.
Yeah, I don't know if she had you. You know, she had you on punishment for coming late. Maybe that's what it was. That since you were late, she just put you in the corner. That's how I do my students sometimes when they come late. I make them walk back down to the office.
Get here.
Yes,
See, there she is.
sing
There
it.
she is, trying to figure out how we got here. One more time from the back. One more time
What
for the
in
people
the
in the back.
world?
Hey, man, it's so bright in here and all this white. I'm I'm on the road, so it looked like I'm in heaven, at least on my screen.
Yeah. You are. Let's just to confirm.
So
not
that's
today. Not today. Not
that's
today.
the angel.
But
that's the angel singing, Kobe.
One more time. One more time. We can get it in the back. One more time.
Come on, angels. Come on, angels.
Come on, angels. Sing, angels. See, the angels will get quiet now. All of a sudden, get embarrassed. Anyway, so thanks for watching us on YouTube and Facebook. All the comments. Appreciate everybody out there watching us on YouTube. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if you're watching us. And also, hey, we a lot of people have asked, hey, how can I donate and be a part of the show? Well, if you go check our Twitter feed at OMG Strike Zone, or if you check our Facebook post from today, probably maybe about 15 minutes before our show started, you can actually there's a link where you can donate to our show, and that QR code that you see down in the bottom corner. If you're watching us live, you can also use that QR code and you can make a donation. A cup of coffee is always appreciated. We'll have more features and specials and things of that nature, what we'll be doing here in the upcoming weeks. But you got to make sure you're following us at OMG Strike Zone. Go download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app as well. My JBN or My BCSN is where you can find us on your Google or Apple Play Store. Okay, so the main topic, or one of the main topics, how did we get here? That's just one of the things that over the course of the week. So I since we missed you in the beginning segment, Kelvin, Kofi and I both kind of shared our thoughts from the past week. And before we get into other things, just from a mental place, what are your thoughts from the past week? Personally, how are you feeling? What have you seen? Just overall, just your emotions from the past week.
First of all, I would have liked to see us communicate and handle this situation more professionally, more transparent, so that it would have been a little less divisive. But that didn't happen. So I think my mindset is one of unity. I want to see Rattler Nation come together, make sure that we support our programs, our kids, our coaches, and so forth. And that's kind of my mentality on the whole thing. We got to move forward in unison, and there's a lot of things out there for us, a lot of work to be done. And we've had alumni association elections, and there's a runoff for the NAA president. There's at some point there's an interim been named for now, but at some point there'll be a AD search for the permanent, and we're going into the summertime, so it's an important time in terms of getting ready for the fall season. So we've got the alumni association convention and board of trustees meeting 1st of June. So there's a lot of opportunity and there's a lot to be done, and that's kind of where I'm at. I will say that I've seen some chatter, I've seen some instigators. I know people on different sides and so forth. the information that's out there, however it got out there, is out there. I think it's pretty clear that there's some justification. That's not all the information. I was a little bit more prepared than some because I'm here and I have some relationships, but at the end of the day, we had a nice run. We had some accomplishments, and now, just like we've done for the last 20 years, we got another AD, and we're gonna have another one probably within the next few months. So let's try to help make this process, the end result, be what we want. That's my thoughts.
Yeah. The timing of everything was very it was poor, to say the least. I don't know if you could have avoided it. I mean, because you had the FAMU Day of Giving that came right after that Thursday and Friday. Now the thing about that, what was interesting about the numbers, because you and I, and even on this show, we heard people that were quite upset, and they may have held on to monies that they might have given, but there was only the goal was to raise $500,000, and they did surpass that. But the number I found interesting was the number of donors. Did you guys catch that?
Yes.
I believe there was only about 1,600 donors. Now, if you do the math on that, that's averaging about $370 per donor. Okay. So, and we know we have way more alumni than 1,600. I mean, so I didn't get a chance to look at what previous. No, and this was the third year of this event or this fundraising campaign. So I don't know what they did the 2 previous years, but it's a major accomplishment, I think, that they were able to surpass the 500,000 mark, given everything that went on just 24 hours before it started, and the how everyone was really flustered and upset about things. So recently, what came to light, of course, via the Rattler Nation blog spot, which seems to be breaking news more so than the Tallahassee Democrat these days. They seem to be on the ball, getting all kinds of first-rate information. They got a hold of a letter from a law firm that was hired to consult on the matter of grounds for disciplinary action against Courtney Gaucher. And, obviously it's there. It's been seen. The attorney's office is Gray Robinson. They have offices all over Florida. I did actually reach out, and I actually spoke to the lawyer that did handle this particular case. His name is right there. Scott Cole is his name. And, he was very nice about not really saying anything. Obviously, he knew that the memo that was out there, he knew it was out there. His opinions, his consultation, it was already out there. And the one question, so I knew there wasn't much he was going to say in addition, but my main question for him was, had he or his law firm been consulted in other matters for Florida A&M? And he paused, and he chose not to basically kind of, how you try to get a telemarketer off the phone and you just kind of, hey, well, thank you for today, blah, blah. And I was even trying to get in a different type of question, but he was trying to get me off the phone. He didn't want to answer that. And so I can only assume that his firm and that firm has done other consultation work for Florida A&M University. That's just my assumption based on the way that conversation ended. But he was hired by the vice president and general counsel, Denise Wallace, to look into the matters. And there were some very interesting points that were brought up. and I think I'm just going to read the summary of his letter. You can go to the blog site if you haven't already read it. It's there. But in summary, he states that it is clear that Gaucher has committed multiple violations of Section 8 of the agreement, and that's his employment agreement. However, his actions most clearly violate the following definition of cause. He says, engaging in conduct which, and this part is underlined, in the sole determination of the university, violates any law or university regulation or policy, or engaging in any other conduct which, this part is underlined again, is the sole determination of the university, is contrary to or adversely affects the mission, operations, or reputation of the university, including, but not limited to, acts of dishonesty and misrepresentation. In conclusion, it's my opinion that there is factual and legal support for the university to determine that Gaucher has violated law and university regulations and policies and has engaged in conduct contrary to and adversely affecting the mission, operations, and reputation of the university. As such, the university has succinct grounds to terminate the employment agreement with Courtney Gaucher for cause. That was on the 19th, and of course, we all know on the 20th he resigned. So I'll kick it around the horn, go to you. When you read that, for the layman, break that down for the layman as best as you can, Kofi, for the layman, or Kelvin, for the layman.
Well, essentially, they saying
he was dishonest. He lied. He was.
I didn't
and he misrepresented FAMU.
That's for the layman. Well said. I guess that's. I walked right into that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kelvin. Go ahead, Kelvin.
I don't need to say nothing else. You can go to the next question. Hey, the only thing I add real quick is so we're a public institution in the state of Florida. There are procurement laws, and athletics being auxiliary, it's pretty much all contracts go through legal, general counsel. Then once they approve, it goes to the president's office for signature, and then comes back to athletics. And some steps was missed in terms of the UE, the Urban Edge, I think, with that part of it. And then even with the procurement, I think of trying to procure a scoreboard and some other stuff. You can't just take one bid or one quote and then try to process it, push it through. And, you either have to have multiple bids because of the dollar amount, so that, and that's of course for, to make sure that you're good stewards of the state, and you're getting the best price, or you would use a GSA, piggyback off of another government or a municipality contract that's already been through the procurement process, or you have a sole source if it's an item or a service that is unique. So those are common things, and anybody who's done any kind of work in the state of Florida understands those are the rules. That's the law.
So when you look at the peak sports agreement now, let's look back on it. And initially when it came out, I was kind of scratching my head about it. But as we look at it now, they were using, or the intent was to use Peak Peak became that negotiator eventually with Urban Edge Network. When you look back at the Peak agreement, do you look back on that and say we should have never got into that agreement in the first place, or that agreement became sort of that shell to avoid going through the proper steps and procedures? How do you look at that agreement now?
Well, first of all, with the Urban Edge thing, Grambling followed their procurement policies, and at least they had a signature from their president, and
their president was involved in it. So yes, they should have it. Exactly, everything was done right.
That's my point. So, That's comment number one. Number two, service agreements are typical for all athletic departments. You have services for game ops type things, security and so forth. You have it for licenses such as CLC, which we have that engage other vendors actually, right? So, it wasn't a contract. It went through all the proper, that peak one went through the proper procedures. If you read the writing in the contracts, though, pretty much all of them have something language in there that says that um, once it gives them the right to negotiate and to enter into things to negotiate, but it has come back to the universal approval. And I'll just give a real quick insight. So CLC, people, they take care of the applications for folks who want to be vendors and so forth, and the fees and all that. But when it's time for the product to be produced and so forth, as those vendors turn those products in, it still comes to the university, and the university has someone who reviews the see if it's a product that is following our product guidelines in terms of colors, logos, etc. And is it a product we want to be associated with, right? People can put your trademarks on some pretty grotesque things and so forth. So there's still even though we have a contract with CLC and they have vendors who have approved applications, there's still processing with the university, still reviews to say that yes, we agree with this, and you know that's what would have had to happen with the Peak deal. If Pete was going to do something with UEN, then they would have had to do amendment to the original contract first off, and then it would have to come back through legal and the president's office and so forth for review and approval.
Kofi, how did we get here?
You're gonna need a break, bro.
Let me shorten the question then.
No. I mean, you literally asked the right question, but there's layers to this onion. We're not gonna be able to get this in one segment. Okay.
One layer at
I
a
want to
time.
start off by saying that we got here because we haven't had the kind of leadership that is conducive for athletic success. You've heard us talk about this on several occasions, but it begins with the president and who our leaders are. And if you look at the numbers between the last year of Humphreys, all the way to where we are now, it has everything to do with how we got here. That's the beginning stage, because the leader sets the vision. And when the vision is all over the place, when you have multiple visions or you have more than one vision, you have division. And that's what we have been dealing with. I want to say a large number of the years that we've been since, I want to say, after Humphreys. I want to say AH. If we want to go on ahead and say something that I think we'll be able to stick, that people can get it. AH, after Humphreys, we've been extremely unstable at the top. There have been a number of different people that have been clamoring for the position. The whole D1 debacle, trying to go FBS without doing the necessary research to do so, really put us behind.
Shall I give you the read? Do you want the read? The 8 presidents in 20 years.
Let's start there.
Henry Lewis, 2002. Fred Gaines, 03 to 05. Castell Bryant, 05 to 06. Larry Robinson, first time in 07. James Emmons from 07 to 14. Larry Robinson again in 14. Elmira Mangum, 14 to 17. And now here we are, Larry Robinson, not only from the interim, but also to officially being given the role as the 12th president. So that's 8 individuals or 8 instances of leadership changes in 20 years.
FAMU has literally been Like they had that show on HBO called Game of Thrones. And FAMU has literally been a Game of Thrones. You got all these tribes vying for the darn throne, vying for the seat, vying for the place of influence, vying for the place of power. That's largely the reason of how we got here. Now, again, FAMU is unique in that it has a culture of people that are going to have access to you as a leader. They're going to have access to you, and they care about the direction of the institution. Where things begin to go wrong is when a person's actions or their desires are not in alignment with where the university wants to go, but they're there for selfish gain and selfish reasons. And when those reasons get outside, I want to say, the framework of what the university is supposed to be doing, that's where we have the foolishness that goes on, you know. And I want to say at one time, so let's start with the president. We had that. Then after that, you have your ADs. Do you have your list of ADs?
Yeah, we've got that beautiful graphic. We've got that beautiful graphic
pull that up.
Our beautiful graphic that shows we've had 16. We're now on our 17th athletic director. And there is the name of names, dating all the way back to the Ken Riley era, which ended in 2002. And there is that beautiful list of names.
Ken Riley, J.R.E. Lee, Joseph Ramsey, Newton Jackson, Nelson Townsend, Alan Bogan, Bill Hayes, Michael Smith, Derek Horn, Michael Smith again, Kellen Winslow, Nelson Townsend, Dwayne Robinson, Milton Overton, John Eason, Courtney Goshen, and guess who? Mike Smith again. So that's the second layer of this. All right. The third layer of this is, again, let's talk about boosters, because anybody that's worth their salt or any university program that looks to really go somewhere has to have a solid booster organization. But unfortunately, with this whole Game of Thrones and people trying to do their own thing for selfish gain and selfish reasons, we no longer have that direct support organization doing what it's supposed to do to help our university athletic programs go to the next level. And that, again, is a reflection of the leadership that we had over that organization that basically allowed everything to get so dysfunctional that it got disbanded. And that's absurd and ridiculous.
Kelvin, when did we last have the booster club? And as we have these various clubs and organizations, I know today we had the 220 quarterback club. What is the function of these various groups?
Okay, I'm gonna name, boosters still around and have a director and have a board and so forth, and they are still functioning. But before I get into the DSOs and those support athletics, I wanted to make another comment that ties into what Kofi said. When you show that graphic of ADs with Ken Riley on back, and then you show that graphics of presidents, one thing I want to make notice of is all that happened after President Humphreys left. When Dr. Humphreys was here, we were on a board of regents in the state, and it was more democratic. The state was more democratic, but it was a lot more functional. You didn't have that extra layer that you had to go through. Therefore, we were able to influence to have people who really cared about the university, not the salaries, not because they were political friends and so forth, of who was in power. and that helped the stability, frankly. Um, since Dr. Humphreys has left and we went to the board of trustees system, we've had a revolving door of leadership from our board of trustees. And when we did have really strong, qualified people board of trustees, because of the constant turnover and dysfunction, a lot of them left the board of trustees and so forth. So I can't not emphasize enough how important politics in the state of Florida have kind of assisted this process. And almost all those names that you named for presidents were affiliated with not the Democratic Party, by the way. So they were political, even though they were rattlers, some of them, they were um, well received in Republican circles and so forth. So that's just a little more meat on the bone. Now with the
How were
DS,
other? Let
go
me
ahead.
jump in there and ask: how were other universities in the state able to function, and we be so, for lack of a better word, inept in terms of our leadership?
Um, I think the flagship universities and larger universities, their enrollments are larger. Um, their alumni base is larger. They already had some infrastructure in place that we did not, frankly. Um, they already had boosters and levels of board of directors for the boosters and a process and so forth. So honestly, just being honest, they have more resources that they can throw at things, and then they have more structure and they actually follow their structure. I have to say it. I work a lot of events at another university, uh, and and even from the top, from the board of trustees to the board of governors, you don't have entourage and folks asking for special favors at their events. It just you don't see it. Folks know what the policies and the procedures are, what the rules are, and everybody follow, and they invest in it, and so it's a lot less conflict that you see. So I just you know I don't know, man. We seem to struggle with doing the right thing sometimes.
Jump in, Kofi. Jump in. I know I saw your hand up. What do you got? Nope, I think you got frozen. What were you going to add? What were you going to add, Kelvin, in that before I had asked that question? I wanted to give you a chance to give that in before we go to a break.
Well, you asked about the DSOs basically, and where one DSO might not be has the impact that it used to have, there's other that have came about that picked up the slack. For example, the FAMU Alumni Association did a lot in terms of athletics. The 220 Club has always done a lot, and they've done a little bit more for athletics. You have the Varsity F Club, which is former athletes, and you have people that have come back into that fold and given their time to organize a little better, and they have names and so forth. So they have done a lot more. Um, you still have, like I said, the boosters still around, and they collaborate actually with the 220 Club and others for initiatives. My understanding was that uh, the uh, the cool zone thing, it was a collaboration between the boosters and the 220 Club, along with some others. So there's a lot more groups that sole purpose is to raise funds to support Florida A&M athletics.
All right. Let's do this. I know we got a lot more meat on the bone. We need more. I know we got some more layers that I'm sure Kofi wants to peel back. And as we get into the next segment, we'll start talking about what we're looking for in the future, and maybe even some potential athletic directors that we hope the search committee. And that was one of the things I
Phone
did
lines.
hear
Phone
lines.
What'd you say? Phone calls.
Yes. Phone calls too. I know you guys are
Let the
excited
people
to
know.
take calls.
Let the people know.
Yes. Coming up here after the break, phone call opportunities as well. I was just going to mention that one of the things that was mentioned in that 220 Club today was that the search committee is starting to form. So I thought it was kind of interesting that a particular person was in attendance at that meeting, and Kofi is shaking his head. We have to get Kofi Hemingway on this committee. I'm calling it now. Let's make a push for Kofi Hemingway to be on the search committee. Somebody reach out to Michael Smith and let him know if Kofi Hemingway is not on the search committee, something's wrong. Just letting you know. Something's wrong. Kofi, would you accept an invitation to be on the search committee if you were asked?
Absolutely, even though I hate search committees or whatever. But I would feel safer.
You would let an interim athletic director make the hire? You would let an interim athletic director make the hire? You would let Dr. Robinson make the hire? Yeah, I think you want a search committee.
Yeah, we unfortunately we just at a spot right now. Because again, let me just say this before we go on the break. Again, this thing with Mr. Gaucher has been brewing for months. If this didn't just happen yesterday. So for Dr. Robinson not to have what?
I said that's why there's been no contract extension.
Yeah, basically he didn't get a contract extension, right?
Yes.
At the beginning of the year, that there's been no word XYZ. So you saw where this was headed. So my point is, why didn't Dr. Robinson have a short list of names already in, or why didn't he put out to a consulting firm to say, hey, I want you all to give us a list of people that you think would be good for our university at this time. We're in a period of transition. Who do you think would best serve or be able to serve our university based off where we are right now, where we want to go? So the mere fact that it just appears as though he just was not really prepared for this, and that gives me pause. And that's me being nice.
Did that 4-minute speech at the 220 Club give that away today? All right, let's go to commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll talk. We'll open up the phone lines to talk a little bit more. And again, we'll make the push. Kofi Hemingway for the search committee, because I already think I know 5 of the names that are going to end up on that search committee. I think we saw half of them today. But anyway, I'm just putting that out there. So we need some fresh blood searching. Michael Smith, we need new blood. Kofi Hemingway for search committee chairman. All right, we'll come back after these words. You're watching the OMG Strike Zone. Get ready to make some calls. You're going to call us and let us know your thoughts and opinions on matters. We'll be back after these words.
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisine.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Are you ready? It's time. The inaugural Urban NerdCon is coming to Montgomery, Alabama, July 29th through the 31st. Blurs, nerds, and geeks from across the universe will converge on the capital city to see celebrity guests such as The Last Dragon, Tybok, Megan Tandy, and voice actor Dave Fennoy.
Hey, how you doing? I'm voice actor Dave Fennoy with a shout out to all my geeks, freaks, and urban nerds. Just want to let you know I'm going to be there and I want to meet you at the Urban NerdCon Gaming and Cosplay event. It's happening July 29th through the 31st in Montgomery, Alabama. Hope you want to meet me as much as I want to meet you.
So join us by visiting theurbannerdcon.net for ticket and vendor information. This will be the premier blurred event in the universe. Theurbannerdcon.net. Our heroes, our villains, our stories. Everyone's con. See you there.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on? Sure, it's wireless. Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password? Buick Envision 2021. Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable. That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking. Me too. Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
You see,
Welcome back to the O&G Strike. We got cool graphics and stuff. Look at that. Welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, and Kofi. I'm sorry, it caught me off guard. I got a little excited about that. Thank you for joining us. I want to shout out everybody watching us on Facebook and YouTube. Let's get those likes up. If you're watching us on YouTube, go and hit that thumbs up. If you're watching us on Facebook, get the likes up. Let us know you appreciate the show. And that's how we're able to kind of measure that kind of thing. Again, a great job by everybody, record numbers for us. So we really appreciate you coming up in a minute. I want to give out the phone number and sort of the rules to live by as it relates to our phone lines, which we're about to open up. But first, I want to tell you guys about the 1978 Circle. And you're like, what is that? Well, this is your opportunity to support FAMU football by joining. I'm going slow here as our producer gets ready to load up the graphics, so I'll go slow because this is about the FAMU football joining the 1978 Circle. There we go. The Circle, 1978 Circle, which supports summer school scholarships for our football student athletes. You can scan that QR code there on the page and below, and you can make out checks to RAF, which is Rattler Athletic Fund, with 1978 Circle / football summer school scholarships down on the memo line. And so that is going on. As I heard from Coach Simmons today in his luncheon, keep that up there for a little bit, Mel. Let's give people an opportunity here. He said that the idea is to raise somewhere in the ballpark of close to $500,000 to support student athletes, football players. I believe football players primarily. As he was saying, the idea you have many students who he's looking to basically help them be able to cover any of the costs and expenses of being at school during the summer. You have a lot of student athletes. I think he mentioned a large majority of the teams from South Florida. You want to keep those young men away from home. He pointed out specifically some parents who have told him, hey, don't let my kid come home. Don't let him have a whole summer down here in South Florida. So there's all kinds of positives, not only just that they get an opportunity to matriculate a little bit through the academic system, a little bit faster towards their graduation goals, but it can also be a benefit and prevent them from potentially inadvertently getting caught in situations back home. Keeps them on campus, keeps them where they can continue to work out and grow as a team and bond together. So the first set of donations started Friday or earlier this week, Monday. And so then they also had the luncheon today, and I know they picked up a lot of checks, but you can go online and make a donation. I'm sure there's also, if you follow Coach Riz at Coach to Bless, he has the tweet again with the QR code. We'll show it one more time during the course of the show. And then Coach Simmons, I think, had a link on his page. So if you're looking for a way to donate, you can do that. I'll make sure we tweet it out again if I haven't already done so from our OMG Strike Zone page. But any donation to the scholarship fund is greatly appreciated. All right, so as we get ready to open up the phone lines, we want to hear from you, Rattler Nation. We want to share your thoughts. Again, we're not going to get into a back and forth discussion. We want to hear your thoughts and comments. Give you about a minute to get it off your chest, whatever's on your chest. Or if you have a question for Kelvin or Kofi, there's that phone number right there. Bam, she even put it up there. Our producer Mel is working. She's working. Mel, can I get this song? Angel, how do we get here, Mel? Can we get the voice? Can we get it? Don't make me have to sing. She don't want to sing for you folks. Sorry.
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead and hit it for one time.
No, it's too. I can't do it. I'll do it later. 678-383-7623. How did we get here? I go a little bit higher. How did we get here? Go even higher. Go up the octave. I'm not even supposed to go there. 678-383-7623. If you want to call in, ask a question, share your thoughts and comments, and we'll go from there. Again, search committee is being formed according to Michael Thomas at the 220 Club. Looks like we got our first caller. So let's go ahead and hear who we got. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Mr. Ford out of Atlanta. I just had something real short. Hey,
How you doing, Ford?
I really wanted to hear Kofi's thoughts on this. Is what I wrote down. I got number one. I said Florida A&M gave us Bob Hayes, Ron Paramore, gave us Ray Robinson. Do you have a championship commitment to women's and men's track program? That's number one. Number two, please put Tennessee's, hold on one second, let me turn this down. Number two, please put Tennessee State back on the football schedule. Number three, presupposing you win the SWAC East and host the SWAC Championship, would you consider playing at Doak Campbell Stadium? And the last one I have is number four, Rattler Nation, would you consider Lynn Thompson for your AD job? Thank you and have a good night.
All right, so let me recap here. That was great. Let me. You got it. Okay, go through it. Go through it. Mel, hold off on any calls until Kofi gets a chance to finish up here. Go ahead, Kofi.
All right. So as far as the track is concerned, we desire. I mean, it's a part of our alma mater. It's on gridiron, diamond, track, and field. Our son's the victory in every year. So we're supposed to have a strong track team. We're in the state of Florida, for God's sake. It's ridiculous that we're not competing for national titles on a consistent, I'm serious, for national titles, let alone conference titles. Like, for track is concerned, when track comes around, fam, you should be definitely top two every year, if not number one. But we're not committed currently to the track program. We're not really necessarily all that committed to our Olympic sports. There hasn't been a strong commitment to our Olympic sports in a minute. And that definitely has to change under whatever leadership that we have. Now, I know that people want to, COVID changed a lot of different things. And what's going to change that is our giving structure, our commitment, our infrastructure, and a willingness by our AD and the constituents of Florida A&M University to get out there and raise the money that will put us in a position to compete on a national and global stage. So right now, I can't say that we're all that committed to track because the results don't say that. Even if you look at the document that we had just over the last week, just in terms of value that you're going to make it, never mind. All right, so as far as Tennessee State goes, absolutely. I mean, that was part of President Humphrey's dying wish to make sure that FAMU and Tennessee State were playing on a consistent basis. Tennessee State can make this thing really easy by simply joining the freaking SWAC. We understand that that's probably we just gonna have to pray and fast on that one. Is because I'm like, to me, it's a no-brainer. There's no other conference where they're gonna maximize their brand like the SWAC, but apparently they've got some misgivings and they think it's, they're looking at it like the chitlin circuit. I was like, man, chitlins brought us through a lot of stuff, and I don't necessarily even eat chitlins like that. But you're in the South, so chitlins are a part of it, and the chitlin circuit is what made Tyler Perry who he is today. So please don't underestimate the power of the quote-unquote chitlin circuit. It can make you into a superstar that you really are. And right now, they're not coming close. I mean, 8,000 people a game for a Tennessee State. I never thought I would see the day where they'd be averaging less than 10,000 people at a football game. I'm like, wow. Tennessee State, I'd be shocked. I was like, of any other HBCU, you tell me Mississippi Valley, I'd be like, yeah, that's about right for them. But Tennessee State, absolutely not. That's ridiculous. All right. So he asked, if we won the SWAC East, is there any chance that we would play in Doak? And the answer is no. Not right now. Now, here's what I will say, okay? Jackson State is coming to town. The Tennessee State, let's say Tennessee State and South Carolina State join the SWAC, and Jackson State moves to the West. In fact, we host Jackson State next year in Tallahassee. So if that is the case, and we're hosting Jackson State, Deion's first return into Tallahassee, it's going to be the hottest ticket ever. Like, you're probably going to have, we could very easily get 40,000 for that game, easily. But if we have the right AD and they plan for the seating properly, we do what's right by the press box, we could work Bragg Stadium out in such a way that we'll be able to accommodate all of those people. So at this time, as far as us playing in Doak, the answer would be no, unless, something crazy happened where Cookman somehow moved and FAMU's playing Cookman for the championship, something like that. But Jackson State would be clearly the biggest draw. We already had Southern, who travels the best historically in the SWAC. So we can handle Southern, we can handle Jackson State. But it's going to be a bigger Jackson State crowd than probably what we've ever seen before. FAMU hosted Jackson State next year. So, but to answer your question, Mr. Ford, we win the SWAC East. No, we're not going to no. All right. Lynn Thompson as our AD.
When
I would hire him. I would hire him
in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. I would be, if he applied and expressed interest and communicated a vision that we could really buy into. He already has the business acumen. He's got the experience. He's got the know-how. He took Cookman from nowhere and was able to elevate that program into heights that they couldn't even fathom. There was a time, they had basically kind of like given up on beating FAMU in the series. They're like, oh, they about to go Division I. This is just over. We just, But they made a commitment. Their president made a commitment. And it wasn't just to the football team. It was to the entire athletic department. And you can see the record since 2000 that their volleyball team, their softball team, their baseball team, their basketball team, their football team, all of their teams are competitive. The only team that I haven't really heard a whole lot about is the track and field, which again is kind of shocking since we're in the state of Florida. But that being said, absolutely, Lynn Thompson would be. He'd get one of my votes. He'd definitely be a finalist. I put it like that.
We talked about Lynn Thompson off air, and we talked about the stability of Bethune-Cookman compared to that of what we've had to deal with over the past 20 years. Lynn Thompson was there for 30 years at Bethune. 72 or 71 championships is what Bethune has won over his tenure. And I'm reading from this article, they won 54 crowns over a 15-year span. So there was a period where they won something like 12 baseball championships in a 15-year span, rather. They, had a period where softball won 6, 5 in a row. There was 71. By comparison, what was the number that we came up with? Because I know Marcus Green did a total. In our comparison, I don't even think we've had 20 in comparison to what we've won in championships over that same time span. Somebody can do the math and maybe tell me if I'm wrong there. Also, here's the thing I want to add about the Tennessee State thing. We always think about Atlanta, but why not a home and home? Tennessee State has Nissan Stadium, a NFL caliber stadium, right? What do we have right down the road in Jacksonville where we have a large base? An NFL quality stadium. It's not apples and apples, but it's doggone. We haven't been to Jacksonville in some years. I think it'd be a big plus to play a game versus Tennessee State in Jacksonville, return the trip up to Nashville, 2 cities that you can easily get to, you can fly easily into, and they're pretty good cities in terms of nightlife. I think it'd be a win-win. Calvin, you want to jump in and add anything before we open up the line for the next caller?
Yeah, and the Tennessee State game, having games in cities requires some things logistical. They're and they have the financial terms have to be such that it makes sense, right? So I don't know if the numbers will look the same in those two cities versus Atlanta. I would tell you, we've played Tennessee State a couple of times, and I went to both games in Nashville in their NFL stadium, and the crowd was very light. It was nothing. So it sounds better than the reality. I think a neutral site where both teams get paid every year. I think Atlanta, we know what that looks like when it's going well. So I would say
Birmingham?
that's probably no.
You could
Atlanta.
do Birmingham, but Atlanta definitely.
What you understand about Atlanta? Atlanta.
We can't get. I thought we can't get Atlanta. I thought we were barred from getting into it, Atlanta.
No, where you get
No,
it from?
that's
Or is
a
it
lie.
just the month of September? It's just the month of September that we can't be in Atlanta.
That's not true either.
All right, we can talk about that
Technically,
later.
phone
Phone
go
lines.
ahead.
Yeah, technically it is true. 678-383-7623. That's where we can go. Hey, while we're waiting on the calls, there's the line there if anybody wants to call in. There were two. I saw a comment here from our good friend Marcus Green about that search committee about making sure that we get one female representation or one female representative who has an Olympic sport background. You mean like, I don't know, Pam Oliver? No, somebody else other than that? I don't know,
Somebody who got it, but the key is it's got to be somebody who has the time to actually meet up.
That's true.
Be present for the
how about
meetings.
a good friend? Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, you want people who not only knowledge about sports administration, and so forth, and probably have some relationships, connections, but you also want people who have the time to thoroughly participate in that process. I'm like Kofi. I hate the committee process personally.
It's
I
because
think
you
you
picked the
you
wrong
hire
people to be on the darn committee.
Well, it don't matter what committee. To me,
Well,
it don't matter what the committee come up
How
with.
many people you need
Yeah,
on the committee?
I know the committee has chosen people before, and then somebody else get hired. So I'm not much for. Yeah, I'm not. I'm serious.
Please don't tell me. Really? That has happened?
So yes, it has.
That's
So,
how we got Alex Wood. That's how we got Alex Wood. Alex Wood was not the recommendation of the committee.
Do we have another caller on the line? I'm not
No
sure we do.
disrespect to Alex Wood.
Sound like we might have had another caller. We have another caller on the line? No. Okay. 678-383-7623. You guys out there, get the likes up on the YouTube. Don't be scared. You guys can call on in. Let us know your thoughts. We love the chatter going on, but I know you got something you want to get off your chest. Short list, Kofi. You want to give out your short list now or after the break?
For AD or president? Let me go AD first. Sorry.
Yeah, let's go AD first. I will say this. I did find it interesting while we're talking about a new national alumni president. I'm curious as to how that will play out. Let's talk about that in a second. Let's go to our caller that we have on the line. Did they hang up? All right, they hung up. Let's take a break. Come back. Open the phone lines will still be open. After the break, we'll get into some more conversation. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone. We'll be back right after these words.
You see, Head & Shoulders has a scalp shield technology, protects against flakes, even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. Number 15?
Never not working.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Head & Shoulders scalp shield, never not working.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate prize. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Q Time is a classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred and Christine Crenshaw. Come on in, relax, and sink your chops into our tantalizing, mouth-watering, distinctive soul food with a twist, the Q Time way. 1120 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, or call your order in at 404-758-2881. Do you miss your mama's cooking? Then come on down to Q Time, an Urban Passport member.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Hello?
Girl, somebody hit my car today.
What? You okay?
No, girl, I'm hurt.
You better call my lawyer, Terrence Madden of Madden and Associates. He got me super paid after my accident.
I saw him last Sunday giving away scholarships.
833-PAID-123.
I'm attorney Terrence Madden. I love getting huge checks for injured clients. Dial 833-PAID-123. 833-PAID-123. Offices Atlanta, Jonesboro, and Augusta.
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida. 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Are you ready? It's time, the inaugural.
Welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, and Kofi continue to ask the question, how do we get here? No, still no song from our angel. But that's okay. I'm not. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Nobody
Well
wants to
said.
be here. No. There you go. There we go. Beautifully said. So coming out of the last break, again, our phone line number 678-383-7623. Let us know your thoughts. Do you still have confidence in Dr. Larry Robinson? It's a question that you have to ask. We know not everybody on this panel does. No, you can't answer that.
You've already gave your answer. We know where you stand.
You've already given your opinion. And so it comes down to, what's going to change. You saw the list up there. We are now on our 17th athletic director since Ken Riley and notably Dr. Humphreys stepped down or resigned in 2002. I don't even remember what it was, a step down, a resignation, or I don't even recall anymore. It doesn't matter.
Resignation.
But since 2002, right, it's been a revolving door of athletic directors. We've had 8 presidents in that same time, twice as many athletic directors. Yes, we want to move forward. We want to unite together. But when does it change? When does it change? The definition of insanity, again, as Kofi and I defined earlier, is what, Kofi?
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So, yeah, just talking about all of these different factors. Okay, I believe we stopped with the ADs, right? We listed all the ADs. We've established just a ton of them. We talked about the whole Game of Thrones. But again, let's talk about all the people that are vying for the throne. Corbin, back in the day, really wanted to be the president of Florida A&M University and practically sabotage our athletic department by trying to get rid of Billy Joe, going Division I, all of these different things that just sent us into a whirlwind. So let me just say, never mind. All right, so the different groups that are vying for the throne. So you have your old school Rattlers that have their own traditional way of doing things. They can't see no other way. Jake was here back in the day, and back when Jake was here, we had this and we had that, and they just believe in doing things a certain way. But please don't underestimate the old school Rattlers, because they've got money and they've got a ton of time, and they are not afraid to make their voices heard and their opinions heard, and they find themselves in the president's ear all the time. In fact, one of them is currently getting paid $80,000 a year, as we speak. So old school Rattlers are vying for the throne. Now, let me say this. Alphaletics is a real deal. No disrespect to Alpha Phi Alpha. But, they've had a ton of, I want to say, clout because they've been in positions of power at FAMU for some time. The great President Humphreys was an alpha. My father was an alpha. Dr. William P. Foster, alpha. So they've had a hand in, I want to say, the greatness of Florida A&M University. Greg Clark, alpha. Courtney Gaucher, alpha. And many others who I do not have time to name. Ramon Alexander, alpha. Again, it's a great organization, but if you look at what's been happening lately in front of us and behind the scenes, they've had a great deal. Oh, wait.
Man, I thought he was going somewhere. I thought it was about to get real good. I was going to see he was next on that list.
That's why he got snatched.
gotta be careful about the groups.
They didn't silence them.
Yeah. You gotta be careful about calling them groups out, boy.
Hey,
Gaither, you had the Gaither guys.
The
It
sniper
did
got
get
me.
you. It did get you. That's because you were getting too close to whatever group you were about to say next. You got a little too close to
Let me go into
comfort.
intercession for a minute. Ishabah. Yeah, let me
Yes.
go on and speak in some tongues or something right there. I said what I said, Dirty. It is the truth. But no disrespect to Alpha Phi Alpha. They've done it. Okay, so you have your other Divine Nine groups that, of course, are very influential into, I want to say, the status of Florida A&M University. Then you have your governmental figures who can step in at any time to say anything because, hey, they're in a position of power. So, this is not, it's a reality because they're doing so many great things for the university. But, I remember when Dr. Al Lawson had picked the basketball dude. He was adamant about Clement Johnson being our basketball coach. And then when things went south, everybody was like, huh?
Let's pause on that for a second. We got another caller on the line. Caller, what's your name? Where you from? Caller, what's your name? Where you from? All right. So I'm not sure why we don't hear a caller.
Maybe need to take it off mute. Come off mute.
3, 2, 1. So go ahead and finish your point, Kofi. So far, you've got 3 groups down so far. Who's your fourth group? Or is there a fourth group?
I mean, there's this fourth group. There's so many groups at FAMU. I mean, that's part of it. It's like, it's literally like FAMConda. It's Wakanda for real. You've got a number of different groups. You've got your local people that are indeed a group, that grew up around FAMU, love FAMU, been there since childhood. So,
Karen Griffin
we
said the
all
cabal.
see each other, we know each other. Something happened to one of us, somebody gonna say something now. Just know that ain't, you're not finna mess with one of us, and then ain't nobody gonna say nothing, without saying it, especially if it's not just and it's not right, which of course is another reason why we don't have our AD. But let me just say, I mean, it's layers and layers and layers. There's so many tribes in Rattler Nation, so many states in Rattler Nation that if you don't know how to navigate it, you end up in trouble. Go ahead.
Let's spin it forward as we talk about what candidates are out there that we'd like to see. Because we're going to find a way to get you on this search committee. I know they don't want you on the search committee because you have your own opinion and thoughts, but we're going to find a way to get you. We're going to start the campaign right here. So anybody watching and listening, if you love Kofi Hemingway, whether you watch him on Off Script, The Afterglow, or here, you need to go ahead and send a note to Michael Thomas, send a note to Dr. Robinson. Kofi Hemingway needs to be on this search committee.
I would say, who's Michael Thomas?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Michael Smith. I didn't name the new athletic director. I'm sorry, Michael Smith.
Look,
Jesus.
So let me go over this list real quick since you keep asking about it. So Kevin Terry once worked in our athletic department. He would be great as an AD. He worked and covered financial. What was his title, Kelvin? Financial.
He was the lead financial person over for Florida State for a while, and then he helped put together that feasibility study about going to the SWAC and the future of FAMU athletics. He's worked at University of San Antonio, Texas, and some other places too. He's at West Georgia, if I'm not mistaken now.
Yes. Get the phone. Get the phone. Get the phone.
Hey, you got another caller on the line. Caller, what's your name? Where you from?
My name is Marcus. I'm calling from Georgia.
Hey, Marcus. Marcus, how you doing?
Hey, listen, I just have something to say. I've been. I mean, I know all you all, and I just want to say this: that I've been in training. I'm an internal auditor by trade, and I know what FAMU is doing to mitigate risk. I mean, FAMU is actually leading in the background for organizations of mitigating risk for governmental organizations. I was in training down in Florida, and there were presentations made by the internal auditor from the state. I mean, from FAMU in regards to mitigating risk, in regards to creating a culture of compliance. I know we're talking about what's happening over the past 20 years, but we're talking about making change, then we have to embrace the change that we're trying to put in at FAMU. And I guess I'm looking at it from an auditor standpoint. And I'm just saying, and we can't just allow stuff to go on and allow stuff that's not in compliance, is not following policies and procedures, and say, oh, give them a pass because they have these big ideas. And to me, if you want to have stability, if you want to have people that are in positions that where people that we're now always having this turnover, then you have to be in compliance. You have to follow the policies and procedures. And that's what's the issues that we have been having throughout the years. And that's why we had this top turmoil of turnover. And see, and like oh, he had these great ideas, oh, he's doing these great things. But you can do that thing, you can have those great ideas, but you have to have a team around you that's going to be in compliance and that's going to follow the policies and procedures that are in place. And so that's the position that I look at it from as an internal auditor, because I know what FAMU is doing in the background from the internal audit standpoint, because I've been in training recently. I came out to Florida where the actual internal auditor for the state, for FAMU and their staff was leading the training, talking about enterprise risk management, trying to mitigate risk, trying to save the university, trying to keep FAMU in a place of prominence forever, and that's bigger than one person. And I think the president, I think that you having a stable president. I know you're talking about you want a big-minded president that's going to focus on athletics. Yeah, that's great. But I'm saying, to me, you have to do the things the right way, because with us as Black folks, you're gonna make sure that we dotting every I and crossing every T. And so what I'm saying, if you want to save FAMU, I understand you want to say Robinson is not a big idea president, but I'm just saying, if you're gonna have the big idea AD, you got to have people around you that's going to dot every I and cross every T. I'm just telling you that from an internal auditor standpoint, and I just know how people are always looking at something, they're always gunning for us, and anything they can do to shoot us down. And so that's just my position.
Marcus, real quick, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Does I don't know, as much as you can compare, does the laws in the state of Florida make it more challenging than other states? Like, obviously every HBCU is managed differently because of the state laws, and every state has various laws, but is Florida more complicated? How would you compare Florida maybe to Georgia or other states, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, if you can, in terms of why does it? Why do we
being forced right? I can't do that because I'm not privy to the information in regards to the other states. But what I can say is this: whatever those laws are, we got to follow. Whatever those laws are, no matter how big your ideas are, you cannot circumvent them. Because I'm just saying, because they're gunning for us. Now you talking, you asking what makes FAMU any different from FAU and FIU? Man, we know what it is. A lot of their base. To be honest with you, I'm just not to be subjective, but I'm just saying a lot of their base is Republican base. I'm saying with us, most of our people, we usually vote democratically. So that with us being a more liberal alumni base and a more liberal student body, it's a more liberal university in general, that we're gonna have to work a little harder, and we're gonna have to have all our stuff in order. And I'm just telling you, I know, because I work for government too. I work for local government, but it's the same thing. You have to play the politics. You have to follow the policies and procedures, because anything you don't do, they're gonna get you. And then at that point, you're gonna wish you had a Larry Robinson. You're gonna wish you had somebody that's like, oh, I'm gonna do it by the books. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna wish you had that person, because then they're gonna be coming for you. And so I get it that you want. I get it that it's a different environment from when Humphreys was the president. You know what I'm saying? Because during that time we had a Democrat. We had a Democratic governor. We had a Democratic Senate and State House in Florida. But now it's different. And so I'm just saying we got to do the things by the policies and procedures for the state of Florida. But in regards to the different states, I don't know. But I'm just saying, I just know from an auditor standpoint that whatever the policies and procedures are, we need to follow them. And if we don't elect them, then we need to try to vote people in place and put people in place to change them. I mean, and that's just my position.
Okay. Marcus, love you, brother. Thank you, man, for calling in, dropping that knowledge. Appreciate you, man. Great points. I mean, so that's got to be, so as we go back to your candidates, look, we got to find somebody who values doing things by the books, who's a detail-oriented, by the books, somebody of that nature.
Right, and Kevin Terry is that guy, just for the record. He's a financial guy, which means that he is very detail-oriented. And he has a love and a passion for things FAMU and knows what we need from that standpoint. Anybody that does a feasibility study has to be extremely detail-oriented. And, being able to communicate on that level, I think he's a very sober guy. Derek McGee is another guy that has spent a lot of time in athletic programs around the country. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just saw his name mentioned in the chat room. I guess there were some previous issues with McGee.
Well, people at FAMU have issues with, when people come in and they appear to be kind of abrasive. Humility is big on the highest of Seven Hills. So when you come in, we like a show, but we like for people to communicate properly. We like for people to treat people with fairly, and not to come in all arrogant and stuff that just turns people the wrong way. It causes people to go into fight mode unnecessarily, which might not necessarily be right. But I do believe that, your management style really does matter. So it's important. That's been some years since that has his last interview. But I believe that people change, people grow, people develop. And at this point, I'm willing to listen to what he has to say. Herb Reinhardt, hands down, has, as a Rattler, has a ton of experience, has led Valdosta State to multiple national titles, has run Valdosta State at a high level for years. He would be great for FAMU, but he also understands the dynamics of the groups at FAMU, and it's important to see whether or not he would be willing to come in the latter part of his years to deal with all that. Darlene Moore is another person that has won several championships. She's certified. She understands. She has a love for FAMU. Has worked in FAMU. Understands what we need. She's a hard worker. She'll get out there. She will fight and win whatever the battle be. And she's strong enough to be able to take us where I believe that we can go. And she will listen. But she does have a mind of her own in terms of what we need and how we're going to get there. And she's a compliance person, which means that she's extremely detail-oriented, but she's going to make sure that our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed. Ashley Robinson at Jackson State, hey, let's go. I mean, wouldn't be the first time that we took somebody from Jackson State. Walter Reed was an athletic director that we had from Jackson State and came in and served under the Humphreys administration. So for all of the Jackson State alumni that are on this particular broadcast, we want to let you know, yes, we do have our eye on your AD. We are not afraid to go on ahead and pull Mr. Ashley Robinson and say, stop riding in the potholes and drinking that nasty water out there in Jackson. Come get some nice spring water over here in Florida, where we'll be able to take care of you and give you some nice barbecue and take care of you, and don't have to worry about getting your car in line every 2 months because of the darn potholes in that raggedy city called Jackson, Mississippi. All right. But, I have to say this because I know it's going to cause some controversy, but I don't care. Okay. So Marvin Green is also somebody that's well spoken of, that has worked in athletics. He is certified. And while, and he loves FAMU. And let me just say that I have no doubt anybody that can take a women's flag football program from scratch and win multiple national titles. Okay. When I'm talking about multiple, when you get somebody that can communicate to women and coach women consistently for years and win with women, that's a master communication. That's a master communicator, because Communicating, coaching women and coaching men are just two different things. It just is. And that's no disrespect. It just is. But his willingness to do that speaks volumes. He took the golf program from scratch, took that, raised his own money, did great things with that. Plus, he understands the value of relationship, and he knows the lay of the land in Rattler Nation. And I have no doubt in my mind that he would go ahead and give his very best effort to make sure that we are where we need to be. So I would put his name in there as somebody to consider, for all of this. But that's my short list. Now, anybody else, like I said, Ashley Robinson, obviously your people are listening. We might have to make you an offer that you can't refuse. So we can go ahead and weaken that little athletic department over there in Jackson, Mississippi, and see if we can get that basketball. No, I'm sorry. The women's basketball person. If we don't get stuff turned around here on the Highs of Seven Hills. But I'm just saying, there we go. All right.
Kelvin, do you have any names on your short list or wish list?
No, I think I'm familiar with almost all of Kofi's lists. We've kind of discussed those.
Lynn Thompson too.
So that's a good list. That's a good list. Yeah, because I think as important, not only do you need people who are competent, who committed to being compliant, almost equally important is people who can build relationships. Because of the resource situation, 8.5, still 8.5. So with that commitment, I don't care who it is, man. You 2-3 years, you be complaining about them. I want people to understand. We've got to have a vision of what we want to be, not what we are. And that requires a mentality of investment. So, and right now we just got too many factions who think about what we are and what we can't be.
And what we were.
And we won't be until we change that mindset. Say we're gonna commit $13-15 million. We're gonna have all the support personnel we need in compliance, in athletic advisement, tutor, nutrition, in terms of athletic trainers. Those are the kind of things that make a difference, so that the coaches can focus in solely on coaching, and we can give the student athlete a full invested experience. Some of the things we're talking about, the ADs are doing the best they can, and with the resources and what the universe is asking them to do. At the end of the day, the NCAA seasons happen. You got to have X amount of games. You got X amount of sports. You got to travel. You got to have the scholarships, minimums, and so forth. So what I'm saying is, facilities got to be maintained. You got to have operations. So I think the big thing is getting our budgets right, and accounting for what it costs to operate every year, what the true cost is. Not no number that some board of trustees member come up with out of their ass. I'm sorry. But the real number it costs to operate a Division I athletic program. And it's not 8.5 million. Correct. Yeah. It's not 8.5 million.
Let me just say, just piggyback off of what Kelvin was saying, not just operate, but operate successfully and win championships. That's what we're supposed to be doing at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. We want to win, but 8.5 is not going to get that number. It's not going to get it done, So being someone that has the wherewithal to present how we can get beyond that 8.5 million number, 8.5 number, and get it up to basically double that, because that's what it's going to need. That's what we're going to need if we're looking at being successful long term with our athletic department. The person that is able to communicate that, develop that, and show that is going to be the person that's going to get the job. The person that is able to present that, develop that, show that. And I want to just piggyback off just one more thing he said. Facilities are a big deal. You know, people, you know, my man, Mr. Ford called in about the SWAC championship game, you know, and possibly moving it because, again, Bragg Stadium only holds, supposed to hold 25,000. Obviously, we got 27,000 in there. We got 30,000 plus in there for homecoming. You know, but we got more fans than that. We've been drawing over 30,000 since the 70s. You know, so we need a stadium, a state-of-the-art stadium at some point that's going to, attract high-level recruits. We'll be able to, it can earn money year-round with high school championships, concerts, I want to say soccer events, all kinds of events on a year-round basis. We need an indoor practice facility for the football team that, again, can probably earn money on its own with banquets and concerts and just all kinds of other things. We need those things on our campus, you know, especially as a part, because, again, as we looked at even our football facility and look at even what Jackson State has, what the University of Alabama has with their football meeting rooms, where the kids have stadium and theater seating and stuff like that, it's a big deal, you know, for us to be able to take it to the next level. We're not there yet, but we need somebody that can lead us to the promised land and across this Jordan.
All right. Let's see if we get our last caller here. Last caller of the day. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right. So our producer's telling me I think we were supposed to, I don't know, we were going to cut the lines and then we didn't cut the lines and then we had so let's make sure, if we're not going to take any more phone calls, let's make sure we've got those lines cut off. As we get ready to wrap up the show here, I want to bring everyone's attention to a couple of stories, and I hate to kind of bring these up at the end. Obviously, first and foremost, there are a pair of great stories that the FAMU and Online posted. Props to those journalists, student journalists. They brought up, there are two stories that I feel like everyone should go read, go listen to, and I'll try to make sure we retweet those or post those. But one article which came out Monday, does FAMU care about its female athletes? And it was a real, heavy question, right? I'm just going to read a couple of quotes here that come out of the article that I found interesting. Obviously, for, let's see, FAMU is a school that prides itself on community and emphasizes a close-knit, quote-unquote, FAMU feel. But freshman tennis player Sierra Sandy says she experiences something very different as a female athlete. Quote, we definitely get support over social media, but when we have games and events that same support isn't there, Sandy said. Men's team on our campus are heavily supported from baseball to football and everything in between. Of course, she continues to talk about, of course, you know, the band and the basketball teams. According to Omari Rashid, a first-year psych student at FAM, the women's basketball team not receiving the same packed pit as the men's team. Quote, the team gets little support from fellow Rattlers, Rashid said. I believe it's due to the stereotype of being less athletic. Our women's teams are just as talented and deserve the same amount of support. Now, that's coming from our women. That's an article that's written by Sydney Bellamy, came out on Monday. Then this article came out also on Monday. I saw this from a Jada Henderson about our cheer team. Says FAMU's cheer team, separate and not equal. This one goes to point out the fact that the cheerleaders who have to not only come and be a part of the football and basketball events are they do not receive any scholarship support. They're expected to pay dues, $1,500 at the start of each school year, while basketball cheerleader dues are $850, according to current cheerleaders. We understand cheerleading is a sport in the NCAA eyes, even in the high school athletic eyes. And I thought it was interesting at that 220 club luncheon. Somebody had caught wind, or somebody had been reading these stories that had come out, because they made it a point of pointing out the cheerleaders. And I don't know if anything came out of that, but Kelvin, you've been in the offices from an administrative level. Are we past the point of not supplying support, or have we ever supplied support to the cheerleading program in the terms of even partial supplements to help with these dues and the time and all the effort that these ladies, that these young women put into being good at what they do?
They do put in a lot of time, not just practice time, but they're at more than athletic events. They're at almost all university events. So it requires a big commitment to be a part of the squad. And they did compete in a and finished in third place this summer. To answer your question about funding, it varies from year to year. Sometimes they get SGA funds. Uh, Sometimes they've gotten athletic stipends. The NCAA has not always recognized cheerleading as a competitive sport. So, a lot of cheer squads don't necessarily have scholarships, but they always had some kind of funding. They do travel sometimes with the team to certain games and conference championships and so forth. But no, there's not been a commitment. And I have to say this, Title IX requires that you have to do certain things with the women's sports. Cheerleader has in the past not counted toward Title IX because again, it's not a scholarship competitive NCAA sanctioned sport. Uh, but just in general, so money has been given to been used from basically football and whatever we bring in to basically like every other athletic department try to get the Olympic sports and the female Olympic sports particularly up to a certain standard. But 8.5 is 8.5. We got to do something about that 8.5 and then take care of everything else.
According to the NCAA.org, quote, a sport shall be defined as an institutional activity sponsored at the varsity or club level involving physical exertion for the purpose of competition against teams or individuals within an intercollegiate competition structure. With volleyball or with cheerleading competing in those competitions, I would qualify it as a sport, wouldn't you? If I'm reading it correctly.
I'm not saying that it's not a sport, but what I'm saying is from an NCAA, I hear you the little label you reading there. But up until the last year or two, there was not a NCAA tournament for cheerleading. It was not a required sport to be a member of the NCAA Division One. It didn't count.
Gotcha. So again, I encourage you guys, go read those. FAMU, thefamuinonline.com. Great articles. I'll make sure to retweet those. Maybe that's a question for another show that we'll have to bring forward to everybody's attention. Also coming up starting tomorrow, the NFL draft comes up. It seems to be on most of the mock drafts that I have seen. The NFL draft coming up this weekend. Thursday is the first round. Rounds 2 and 3 are Friday. Rounds 4 through 7 are Saturday. Many mock drafts have Marquise Bell being drafted somewhere between, I've seen 4th, I've seen 5th, I've even seen 7th. So it really just depends. My big question is, I set the line earlier this week at 4.5 HBCU players being drafted. Do you guys go over or below the number 4.5 guys being drafted?
I'm going over. I'm going 5.
What about you, Kof?
I'm going to do the same. Hopefully times have changed. And I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to say 6. Let's do that.
I hope, man. I can't. I tell you, the more and more I watch these mock drafts just make you question what. But then again, these guys doing these mock drafts only see big name schools, so they don't see the small time guys, the small school guys. So I'm going to be optimistic and go over as well. I just think there might be a rush in the 7th round where you see that being the round where we get at that point. It becomes, is it smarter to be an undrafted free agent versus actually get picked up by a team that might be just doing it because, so we know we've got high quality caliber guys. So it'll be interesting to see where, and hopefully the push by Deion Sanders, hopefully the push by the HBCU Legacy Bowl and the Senior Bowl and all these other things, these pro days, hopefully it pays off for the guys who are looking to have their shot at the next level.
It will.
I hope so too. As we close, guys, I thought I would close this show with a bit of Coach Simmons' speech from the 220 Club today. It's a bit long, not gonna lie. It's about a 4-minute segment, but I thought it hits the message home clearly on where we need to be. So again, we'll put this out there. We'll try to put a link out there. Again, this was recorded earlier this afternoon. Credit to make sure I give proper credit to Mega Ace. I believe that's Vaughn Wilson's. Vaughn Wilson's company. They filmed it for the 220 Club this afternoon. It was whatever. It was on YouTube. You had to come across it the right way in order to catch it. But so we're gonna wrap up the show with that segment from Coach Simmons and the outro. Again, want to encourage you guys to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at OMG Strike Zone. Thank you for everybody watching and being a part of our show on YouTube and Facebook. Make sure that you hit that thumbs up and the like button and hit the bell. Donate. You can donate to our show now. We'll send out the links from our own personal Twitter. There it is. That QR code down there at the bottom is how you can donate to the O&G. You can also find the link again on our Facebook page as well as our Twitter feed. We appreciate every cup of coffee that you choose to send our way to help keeping this thing going. So we will close it for Kelvin and Kofi. I'm Brian. Watch this clip from Coach Simmons and then the show outro. And Rattler Nation, take these words from Coach Simmons and let it just marinate on your heart. I thought he hit home. Might have been his best speech I've heard in a long time. So we'll go ahead and play that. Good night, Rattler Nation. Peace out.
I'm sure he did. I just wasn't blessed with that opportunity to watch him play. We'll tell some stories about it later when I finish. But the stands were always packed. So every season, there's an expectation here for us to be at the top of FCS football in attendance. That's the expectation. If we're not top 5 every year, there's a problem. And we know there's some stadiums that may be bigger than ours that can hold more people, but as far as capacity, we should be at or near the top of any school in America in capacity. If our stadium seats 25,500, there better be 24,999. That's the expectation, okay? And so that is the brand that we speak of. That's the brand. The standard is excellence. Excellence with caring. It's in our school motto. That word excellence is in everything that we do. But you don't reach excellence without having to overcome some adversity. That's what happens. We're going to win a bunch of football games, but they won't be easy. There will be times when we will be down. And when I look behind me, what I see determines what happens. If I see the defense telling the offense as they come off the field after going 3 and out, don't worry, we got you, we're going to be fine. If I see the offense tell the defense after we just gave up a touchdown when it was 3rd and 16, we got you, we're going to be okay. When I see that special teams unit or the offensive defense tell that special teams unit after we just got to miss the field goal that we're going to be okay, we got you, then I feel good about our chances to win. But if I turn around and I see one of our defensive players whisper under his breath, man, we can't never score a touchdown, we're in trouble. Because at that moment, we're not a family. At that moment, we're starting to pull apart. And as I stood on that sideline last season in Huntsville, Alabama, and we were down 17 points in the 3rd quarter, I didn't worry. I didn't worry. Not one time did I get concerned. After Xavier Smith caught a pass and failed and the ball popped up in the air and the guy intercepted it, I didn't worry. Troy, my DFO, walked up to me and put his hand on my back, and Troy and I go way back, 20 plus years. And he put his hand on my back, we were down 17. And all he said was, act like you've been here before. Act like you've been here before. We've been down before, and we've come back before. FAMU, we've been here before. This isn't new to us. Change isn't new to us. So why are we acting like we haven't been here before? When we score a touchdown, which we're going to score many of them, I tell the guys all the time, you know why you don't see our guys throwing the ball in the stands and celebrating and going crazy, getting penalties? Because I tell them the very first practice, you score a touchdown, you break a 99-yard touchdown, act like you've been there before. You don't have to go and celebrate crazy because you've done this. You're used to this. We win a big game, you're not going to. Some of you guys probably remember in the college football playoff last year, University of Georgia won the first round, the semifinal game. And their head coach turned around and looked at those guys with that big Gatorade cooler about to douse them, and he said, you better not. You better not. This isn't a celebration. We expect to win this game. We came here expecting to win. So why are you going to dump Gatorade on me? Well, there's still more work to do. We're not celebrating right now. We've been here before. We expect this. So FAMU, Rattler Nation, we've been here before. We expect this. And guess what we've done every single time? We've overcome it. When the state came in and tried to take our schools away from us, guess what we did? We came together and we overcame it. We fought back. When we lost coaches before, guess what we did? We overcame. When we had AD transitions before, guess what we've done? We've overcome. When we had presidential change before, we've overcome it. When I took this job, believe it or not, FAMU's football team had gone through 7 straight losing seasons. Where are we now? We've overcome. Why? Because I walked in that locker room and I told those young men, we're not going to worry about what we've done. We're not going to worry about what's happened. I told a guy yesterday, I never watched 1 ounce of film for the 2017 season. When I took this job, I didn't watch any film of the team before me because I didn't want to form any type of preconceived notions about the guys that I was going to coach. I told every last one of them, you all got a clean slate. I would judge you about what you do now. What you do today will determine how I think about you tomorrow. That's why I posted what I posted last week. Are we frustrated? Of course we're frustrated. We're frustrated because we're going through change, because momentum has halted. That's why we're frustrated, because momentum is halted. And we had a lot of momentum. But as much as I love Courtney, he knows I do. One monkey don't stop the show. If I leave tomorrow, which I ain't, but if I leave tomorrow, it's going to keep going. If Reverend Holmes steps down tomorrow from Bethel Baptist will continue to go because he set the foundation. That's the goal, is that a foundation is laid that whoever's in charge can take it and run with it. This place is special for a lot of reasons. And we say we're number one, and we are number one. But I remind people all the time, it's not because we have the best academic programs, which we do. It's not because we have the best band in the land, which we do. It's not because we have the best athletic program in the land, which we do. It's because we got all three of them together. That's what makes FAMU special. And we have to make sure that it stays that way. And how do we do that?